director Christopher Nolan, his film Oppenheimer is inescapable this summer. And we check in with science expert and podcaster Chrissy Newton to talk the science behind it all.
We've heard about the whole hype around all of this, and we know what the critics think, but I wanted to know, what does a woman in science actually think about this film?
Well, a woman who podcasts about science, I would say that the film was very accurate. One main reason is that Kip Thorne is a physicist who actually consulted on the film, and he studied under Oppenheimer at Princeton.
Also, spoiler alert, the film shows a sequence where Oppenheimer nearly poisons his professor, and a lot of us were left wondering,
how dramatic does it get into the science world?
It can get fairly dramatic, but not as dramatic as Oppenheimer trying to poison his professor. Thankfully, that's not appropriate these days. We see that scientists have multiple discrepancies on theories, which is great because it also lends to hopefully new science. And the idea is that science is ever evolving, just like humans are.
Can you also explain fusion versus fission?
So fission is the concept of, two atoms splitting into two smaller atoms. There's so much energy to that. And then we look at fusion, and fusion is the concept of two or more atoms becoming one lighter atom, and then it also has 3 to 4 times more energy than fission.
But what's incredible is how Nolan is able to showcase all of this visually.
Oppenheimer chose a color palette of black and white and obviously color to kind of compartmentalize it and separate it for the audience. So the idea is that it is the first scenes that are colored are subjective. So they're coming from the first person and they're coming from Oppenheimer's perspective, which is really cool, but they're not historically accurate. And then we look at fusion, and those are black and white. And that's supposed to be objective, but objectively true and more historically accurate. Right. When I found that out too, I was like, okay, now that makes more sense.
And there's one last takeaway.
What Nolan's trying to do is signify that you can't put the genie back in the bottle. So it's a very poignant reminder that, you can't unmake a bomb, and nuclear war is still very possible today.